Welcome to Cold Hard Trash, CRT episode 52. I'm your host, Trashcan Jones.
And I'm Breg.
And this is the 1 year anniversary of CRT. Had to do a big one, show it out. Hell yeah, I lost it even. I wasn't prepared for that.
I took a big breath beforehand.
And we are joined today by a new guest, the Intero Bang.
I'm Intero Bang! A.K.A. The Questioner. A.K.A. Dave.
He will be here asking us questions submitted by you, the fans, as well as by us to each other, to be getting to know, us with you a little bit more. As well as the year went by, I kind of realized that we never really just kind of sat down and, talked about who we are, how we met, all our different, kind of personals, goings on about ourselves. So I figured we'd take an episode, just let the fans ask whatever they want to ask, let us ask whatever we want to ask, and kind of just have an episode of letting it all pour out.
Speaking of pouring out, we're pouring up with the Malort. The only way I could have ever convinced Jones to consume Malort.
It's not good. It's not good. Tell my family I love them. I've written the last will and testament before we started recording this. It is going to be a rough one. I have my Malort mixed with 7-Up Tropical to hopefully just mitigate the damage. But cheers to 1 year. Cheers. Cheers to you too, Intero Bang.
Cheers! My family made Malort back in 1920.
God damn you, Intero Bang. I knew it was you all along.
I didn't know you're Swedish.
It was Swedish that invented it? Oh, I think we looked that up, didn't we?
I'm 1/4 Swedish.
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting, yeah. Figuring out the canonicity. All right, so to get us started, please, Intero Bang, what is your first question?
Our first question from our listeners is, how did you two meet?
So we met at a fraternity. We were both pledging the same fraternity at the same time. We were both into theater and a lot of our other things. And we just kind of hit it off from there.
For a while, Jones had me in his phone as PCP.
I still
Pledge
do.
Class still does. Pledge Class President, because I was. And, we were, Pledge Brothers and stuff like that, and we hung out, and then, about a year later... our friendship grew over that time.
Yeah, it wasn't immediate, but it was I think about a year later we started hanging out with each other separate on the reg.
We ended up in a production of Next to Normal with each other.
Yeah.
That was a good old time with Intero Bang too, actually.
Yeah, that's right. You were the son. Was your name Danny in that production? Daniel?
No.
I think I was.
Was it? Someone was named Daniel.
Yeah.
My name was Gabe, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. It was Gabe. Yeah.
It's crazy because they were really trying to get him to take that hat off.
The whole time, and he refused.
And I refused.
He was the best. He was the best at that role.
Well, my brain is exposed underneath this hat, so I can never take it off.
Like Mojo
It's too big
Jojo.
from asking too many questions.
Exactly. I got so smart that my brain burst through my skull. All right, moving on to our second question. Who came up with the idea to start the podcast?
That was me. I came up to Brendan to start it, just to be like, you're a guy I can already talk for 3 hours with, nonstop before when we first met.
Kind of. I think you mentioned something like that, and then I said, I'd be willing to do a podcast pilot with you.
Oh, okay.
We could do get together,
I
record
believe it,
one
honestly.
or two episodes, and then you were like, yes. And
You're
I was
right.
like, all right.
I was gonna say I believe that I needed that kick to actually impetus it, because we always, even before we got super close together, I remember being able to talk with you for a long time. Wow, he's a really interesting guy that just has a wealth of knowledge to be able to drop on. I just love being able to listen to it. So but I do fully believe that you were the one to just be like, we should do a podcast, and I like jumped at the opportunity.
Oh, it was so offhanded too, right? It was like, yeah, I said I'd be willing to do a pilot with you, and then you came over and we recorded 2 episodes, and then you're like, so what time?
Next week?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, we're in it.
Gotta keep doing it.
But yeah, I always thought you were quite the character. You always got something fun to say, and just a really cool guy, and personable, and fun things to say.
Thank you.
Bring a lot of energy to it.
Thank you. Honestly, I'm really excited for this just being the entire episode of us just saying nice things to each other.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
Not all of us.
So we'll be saying bad things about Interrobang, but there's got to be the balance.
And I will say objectively neutral things about you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you staying neutral.
First bad thing about Interrobang, yes, his brain is exposed underneath that hat, but it's like really small. There's like a bowl. You can put cereal in there. There's a little thing like bobbing back and forth like a ping pong ball.
I was studied by many scientists. It is a medical wonder how small my brain is. All right, moving on to the third question. What's the most ridiculous thing you've debated on your podcast? You cannot say 400 penis.
The one that immediately comes to mind, debate, I don't really think we've debated a whole lot other than, like, is AI art? I think the most ridiculous thing that we came to conclusions on was me realizing that olives aren't grapes.
That was a quick...
Sorry? Did you think olives were grapes?
He thought it was like an aging thing.
I thought it might have been a pickled grape. I thought that just kind of made sense. I didn't really think about it.
Pickled grape?
I didn't think about it.
Is that
too
what it
hard.
tastes like to you?
I don't eat olives. That was part of it. I don't eat them, and I figured maybe if it's like the thing you age a grape and pickle it, that it turns into an olive, just like you do with a cucumber. I don't know. I didn't know. I learned now. Now I know. Okay. God damn it, Interrobang. Fucking real judgy over there.
I'm just trying to get the facts straight.
He's just upset because I filled his head with olives before.
Well, my brain is the size of an olive, so it was really hard to find the brain amongst all of the olives.
But you would know this.
Similar.
You would know this.
All right, moving on to question 4. What's the funniest behind-the-scenes moment you've had while recording?
For me, it comes to mind immediately just Captain's antics. It's not really behind the scenes, though. It's on camera.
Going,
just immediately into the microphone because she grips your leg with all of her claws.
She stopped doing that, which is very nice. She's also become a lot more cuddly, which is also very nice.
Yeah, she's cute. Behind the scenes, though, I can't really think of anything other than just actually messing up and screwing up the recording. Like we did the whole first couple episodes with the wrong settings, so they just sounded like shit.
There was a period of time where I had Jones cut out my ums because, I don't know, it's been a while since I had spoke with such intention. And I don't worry about those little ums right there. It's more the really big sections where I'm going.
Did you notice that I stopped?
I thought I just stopped doing it as much.
I stopped for the last 4 months of stopping.
I know. That's I knew, but
okay.
I needed the opportunity to get better and to maybe think of different ways to fix my speech, such as pausing, like I did right there, or repeating a syllable that's about to lead into another word, and just taking the time to stop and reform my sentences. It's a learning curve.
You definitely have gotten better, I will say. There's been a lot less times you do that stop and I remember even the one time when I complained about it, you were just like, well, I guess that makes it easier if I stop beforehand and then really say it loud and then go on. I'm like, that's not the point. You're just making it worse.
See, that's a transitional right? That's okay. It's when it's in the middle of the sentence that's really hard to parse through. Thank you for doing that for the time period that you did. I was self-conscious about it, and then I got better.
Nah, even when you do say the ums in there, it's just the way you speak. Even if it is just in the middle of your thoughts or whatnot, it's your own cadence.
It was really bad. You sent me a Snapchat once of it, and I cringed so fucking hard.
It used to be real bad because you would just be like in the middle of a sentence, you'd get like 4 ums within the one thought, and I'm like, dude, come on! If I'm supposed to cut all these out, I can't. You're not gonna sound human.
Did you make an supercut?
No,
Just cut out all the ums and put them back to back.
When I cut them out, I deleted them. They're right to the trash can. I didn't save those at all.
Like that.
Well, you said you sent it right to the trash can and you didn't save them?
Yeah. I am the trash. I sent it right to me. I ate it, swallowed it, and yeah, they digested. Gone.
Okay, cool. Saved them for like you know, maybe
Tiny
12
morsels.
hours.
Yeah.
There's that one video where they like cut out all the like inhaling breaths of that one.
The Macho
one guy
Man. Yeah, that's so good.
Just, yeah.
I have some other favorite like supercuts of the one where it's like just like hundreds of Joe Rogans, and then they all synced up exactly when he said it's entirely possible. So it's, like, it's entirely possible.
That's so good.
And the Xbox showcase for the Xbox One when it's like sports, Netflix, sports.
Or Madden.
All right, we will move on to our Who's Most Likely To segment. We've got a couple of Who's Most Likely To questions. First, who's most likely to be the peacekeeper during a podcast debate?
I mean, I'd say you. We should do these like 1, 2, 3, then both answer at the same time. But I'd say
I'll accept it.
I'd say you'd be more peacekeeper because I'm more looking to start fights. Always.
It's not as much that I guess is that your fact that you're like more looking to start fights, but I don't feel like I have an active effort to peacekeep.
Yeah, well, we don't like ever like I said when they debate things, we don't ever like really go head to head with a lot of things where we disagree. Even though like
maybe we
don't try
should.
to.
Maybe we should make a list of those. That'll be season 2.
Yeah, right. The Disagree
Try
podcast. I did have an original thought if we were to do like 52, 53. Like 52 would be the podcast where we talk about how much we like each other and all the different things we love. And then 53 would just be I hate you so much and all the different things you'd agree. You stupid idiot. Why don't you think like I do?
And it would be only 1 minute, right?
And maybe that's when we'd have to come together, figure out what we disagree on. I don't know. You don't really sit down with people and talk about like what you disagree on, like you don't hash it out like that ever.
Yeah, I had a bit of an issue coming up with questions for you in the first place because it's like, if I think about you, I kind of just think about the things I know about you.
Yeah,
right?
Same.
Like I had to dig real deep, and an hour before coming here, have the procrastination pressure on.
I dig that. I definitely do work better under pressure. I wrote 2 of the questions yesterday, but like I think 3 of them were just all throughout the week. But I literally just tried to save. Like maybe I can just think of some.
I wrote like 15 just before this.
Damn. Went trailblazing.
I wrote 0 because I do not know how to read or write.
How are you? Wait a minute.
I have all of these questions memorized.
How'd you memorize them?
So, somebody spoke them to me, and I just sat down, and I've got a really good memory for things that are spoken to me.
Checks out.
Yeah.
Checks out.
All right, who's most likely to turn a small topic into a 45-minute deep dive?
All right, you want to answer this at the same time?
3,
Yes.
He's not here.
2,
Okay.
1.
Hey, we're both on stage with it. Yeah.
It's I feel like it's just one little detail. I'll be like, I'll hang on to that, and I'll be like,
I love it.
you gave this one little piece of information and a much larger idea, and I focus in on that. And
I
I'm
know.
like, do you know how microwaves work, motherfucker?
It's so good. That's one of the things I love about conversations with you, where they can just take turns and just go down this 3-hour long conversation about who knows how we got here, but I am just so enjoying the fact that we are, and it's great.
And you bring the goof.
I'd say
And I love the goof.
I'd say you start the goof when we get into conversations about that, because it's just like one of the, like I guess a conversation about microwaves inherently isn't goofy, but when you think about it from a third-party perspective, like we're talking about like how microwaves got made. What's going on right now? How did we get here? Like just having that perspective, it's like it's not hard to like goof on that.
If we were to make it a fire analogy, you're the tinder, I'm the kindling, we're the fuel. All my Boy Scouts out there.
We are the fuel. Hell yeah, I like that.
Yeah, check out our spin-off podcast coming in.
We got a Boy Scout spin-off podcast? What the fuck?
I just think The Fuel would be a good name.
Were you in the Boy Scouts?
Yeah, for a little bit.
Yeah, same. I made it to Life Scout or Star Scout. I don't know.
I made it to like first class, and then I joined a Masonic youth group. No, they aren't the Illuminati. It's just a bunch of old guys.
Freemasons?
So the whole thing about Freemasons is that they just all... To be a Freemason, you just need to believe in a god.
Okay, but it doesn't...
No atheists. Even though, like, our Masonic youth group chapter president at one point was a very outspoken atheist. But we had recruiting issues, so,
Take what you can get.
But, yeah, that's kind of the whole thing. You just need to have a faith, and you just sort of hang out with some other old guys and drink beer and do community service. However, so I don't know, maybe a little Illuminati shit because like we went to like this thing. It's called Conclave. It's like our annual like get together and like change the constitution of the organization and stuff like that.
Sure.
And we'll get like Freemasons coming in to like show up and be like, "Hey, it's our youth group. You know, let's see what's popping." And one of them had the license plate 1.
Just the number 1 or ONE?
The number 1.
And
then someone told me that that's something you can get as a Mason. And I was like, is this really a thing?
Was it a vanity plate or was that his actual plate?
I mean, it's a vanity plate. Like, it's a special one.
I was going to say,
for sure. You don't just luck into getting one, right?
Well,
unless you're like fucking ancient.
Well, that's the thing. You can get anything even unregistered and just kind of put it on there as long as you have the actual registered plates, like either in the window or something. I'm pretty sure. You don't even have to get the actual like license plate registered as number 1 to like put it on as a vanity plate, as long as you have the actual registered plates in view. I think anyway. I'm not an expert on the law.
He had one on his
front
car.
and back.
Yeah. So
Damn,
you know what? I believe it.
That's pretty sweet.
It seemed pretty cool. Maybe I will become a Mason.
All right, moving on to the next question. Who's most likely to forget that they're recording and say something wildly off topic? 3, 2, 1. Me. What the hell?
I pointed to me because I'm usually a lot of times when especially if you go on to like tangents, I'll like do the same thing where I'll focus in on a certain kind of topic and fade out of whatever you're speaking about, then try to transition of whatever I try to focus in on. Which also you're receptive to in different times, which I really appreciate. If you could let me take on to my own little rants.
Yeah, that's the point. We take turns.
Yeah.
We bring different things to the table. It's the interplay between the two. That's the fun part. I think for the most part we remember we're being recorded. I don't think you've ever had to cut something out like that, really.
No.
Yeah. I was actually gonna ask you to cut something out somewhat recently, but then I decided against it.
Yeah,
So
we'll never know. Yeah, I'm not really. Even if we have like an embarrassing flubs or anything on here, I take them on the chin. I don't really care.
I will say though, you're falling a little behind in the Malort mode.
Well, listen, this is literally if we tried to ferment like gym socks and black licorice and tar, that's what Malort would be. I don't know if anybody outside Chicago who's never had Malort. It's just imagine the worst thing you've ever drank and then add like dirty dishwater to it. That's Malort.
I think dirty dishwater is not the right description because at least you're gonna get some savory bits. My go-to for Malort is always crushed up bugs, used baseball, how earwax smells.
Hope football gear was the other analogy I used. Tastes like when I'd go for football, like the first day you'd go and like get your helmet and your shoulder pads because it would just be like, they'd requisition them to you. It'd be a warehouse full of them. So it would just smell like a bunch of old musty plastic and whatever the material is, rubber and shit.
We'll just be glad we have the new Malort and not the old Malort.
There was an old Malort?
This is actually a lot smoother.
What?
Yeah,
It doesn't. I don't think it tastes better, but it's smoother.
Yeah, they changed the recipe at one point, and it used to be a lot worse.
What the fuck? Why? Why would they... I guess they...
Why would they make it better?
Thank you for making it better. Why did you have it worse in the first place? It's like wormwood for real, right? Like it's fermented wormwood or fermented...
Well, wormwood's a part of it, but like absinthe is also wormwood, and that tastes like licorice. So maybe that's like wormwood and anise, and this is like wormwood and baseball.
Baseball.
All right, bringing it back to reasons why you would want to cut things out of the podcast. Who's most likely to get canceled for something they said in a podcast? 3, 2, 1.
Oh, really? You pointed
They
to
both
yourself.
pointed to themselves.
All right, well, I guess that's good. We both have kind of that thing about each other.
I guess, well, this is something that I referenced a couple minutes ago about asking you to potentially cut something out, but when talking about Grok mentioning white genocide at every single turn...
I mean, that's current news. That's not...
Well, no, the thing is, and it sounded a lot worse, it felt a lot worse after I said it. I was like, oh shit, maybe this sounds bad. And repeating it now is also going to sound bad in my head. But I said, look, shit like's been going down there for like a long time. Apartheid is supposedly over. And, if they were going to do anything, I get it. That's what I said. And I was like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't say that. And then I didn't say anything. And it's out there now. Twice.
Well, you know what I always say? If you say something bad, make sure to say it again.
Make sure you double down.
Or what are you going to get canceled for? Come on, chop.
Just really bring attention to it,
Oh, yeah, I probably would just get canceled for something non-politically correct I don't even know about. Like probably either misgendering a celebrity really horribly or something like that. Like Elliot Page, I followed their career for a long time and was actually a really big fan of them before they transitioned. So it's Didn't I said there, but did I slip it up already?
Canceled.
Fuck. God damn it. See what I said? I followed their career the whole time.
No, it is him.
Well, yeah, but doesn't there also works? You can gender neutral doesn't mean like I'm just excluding the gender. I could say they're about you.
If we're gonna get into like the semantics of it, generally, if someone does decide to commit to the full, going from she to he, like fully, then when someone says they, it's sort of seen as less affirming.
Okay, and it androgenizes it a little bit. I guess.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
instead of validating, which
right.
I get, and I mean I don't actually cancel you.
That's fair. All right,
I revoke the
learning. See, that's what I'm talking about. First, most likely to get canceled. Bing, bang, boom. I still got to learn shit like that. Thank you.
All right, the next question. It's been submitted a couple of times in different iterations, so I'm gonna just kind of lump it all into one. But I'll read out all of the questions, but you can kind of answer them all at once. So the first one is, if you could create a podcast episode with any fictional character, who would it be? The second one is there a celebrity you'd love to have as a guest on your podcast someday? Or are you planning to do episodes with guests in the future? And the third one is, if you could have any fictional character as a guest on your podcast, who would you choose?
So
Interrobang, baby.
Yeah, Interrobang is everyone guest.
You're not real.
We're never gonna have guests again, though. This is a one-time deal, and never again.
We still do have. So we had our Final Destination guest. We still want to have our Final Fantasy guest at one point.
What?
You know exactly what I'm talking about for our Final Fantasy guest.
Isn't he the Final Fantasy guest? The Final
He's
Destination,
the Final Destination guest?
I thought that was the next episode is the Final Destination guest.
Well, yeah, okay, so in the future we will have a Final Destination guest.
I thought you flipped that.
We also want to have a Final Fantasy guest.
You threw me for a loop. My 5 fantasy guests for this, fictional or non-fictional, it's definitely going to be a fictional. I want Space Ghost. Have I ever shown you Space Ghost Coast to Coast?
I've seen
Space
some.
Ghost Coast to Coast is incredible.
It's so good. He's the best TV host in the world.
Well, I would stay up late as a kid. I've always had trouble sleeping, and I'd stay up late as a kid, and I see Space Ghost Coast to Coast on Adult Swim, and I wouldn't get it at all. I did not give a shit about it when I was a kid, because I never saw an actual talk show.
Right.
I don't know what their whole thing is.
I'm what they're
okay, he's
on.
At work. He's interviewing people. Is he a reporter? Everyone sucks at their job.
He really hates that bug
mantis
guy.
Man. Yeah.
Who's on the piano for some reason. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's such a ridiculous show.
Any celebrities?
Yeah, I'm not a really big celebrity
Eminem.
person. Wow, really? Why?
He's your biggest fan.
Oh, Eminem is the person who hates our podcast the most, but therefore in hating the podcast is the person who knows the most about it. So by default is our number one fan.
We should talk more shit about him. Get him on.
What shit can he talk about? Your state sucks. It's like bankrupt. Fuck Detroit. There's like trees growing in your houses. Detroit sucks.
I mean, he'd agree. He'd probably be a little bit mad at that, but like he'd be like, yeah, that's kind of the problem.
Yeah, that's why I'm staying here, trying to build it up. Fair on that, man. He's doing this shit like some guys are doing in Cleveland. Shout out to King Chip.
All right. Moving on. What's the worst movie that you genuinely love and would defend with your life?
Beer Fest.
Beer Fest. Is that the one with Landslide?
I don't think so.
Landfill is his name, who like dies and then it comes back, but like his cousin comes in, or is that Beer
Yeah,
League?
no, that's Beer Fest.
Okay, that's a
I
great
don't
movie,
remember. I don't remember his name. It's kind of a shitty movie. It's a college comedy type thing, even though they aren't in college.
I put on the same level as like Revenge of the Nerds, though. Like, yeah, it's kind of a shitty movie, but it's like that's old school. Like, a lot of the jokes really do not hold up. But
well, a lot of them do. It's really campy,
Right.
and the fact that they have the guy die, and it's this big like inspiring moment where they have to go compete in Beer Fest because they have to avenge him, and then his cousin, played by the same actor, just comes in and is like, yeah, I can do like everything he does,
and you can call me his name in his honor. It's a great movie.
That's
you think it's a bad movie though, or is it like known as a bad movie? Is what you're saying?
I mean, we're entering a weird space. Like, would you like The Room, right? But like the whole reason that people like it is because it's ridiculous,
right?
Like that, and that's kind of the same thing with Beer Fest, except it's aware of it,
right?
At all, which The Room is not.
I defend the Super Mario Brothers movie, the first one, back in the 90s it was made. I think that gets way too bad a rap. It's definitely not like, the exact interpretation of Mario, I guess. But if you want a real life, like, it's going to be Mario and Luigi in actual New York City running around, they did a pretty damn good job. The underground world of the Mushroom Kingdom, like being completely all electric because they can't use natural gas, like all the cars are running around like that weird go-kart system. Like, there was a lot of thought and effort put into that. It was pretty cool. The little Bob-omb and Thwomp things that come in at the end as the cameos, I love that shit.
I saw it when I was very young. I remember very little from it, but I was upset as a kid.
Why?
It was not colorful.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was like a dark, gritty version of the movie, which I guess I like dark, gritty things, so it works for me.
I was expecting to see
kid.
Mario. I didn't expect to see an adaptation like that.
Right.
I expected to see, like, honestly, what we got a couple years ago.
And that's fair, that especially when it came out, that it didn't get the love it deserves, that I feel. But I feel I'll go to bat for it. It's not as bad as everybody thought. I get why people hate it. But
But I don't know. Maybe I do have like other movies that would generally be considered bad that I would go to bat for. But like, I just don't even register that anyone would dislike it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on. What's a completely irrational fear you have but can't explain?
My PC just catching on fire. I'm just going to walk in one day and it's going to have flames coming out of it. I can't explain it, but I check over it every now and again to be sure it's not happening.
I guess nowadays it would be my cats dying. Like, they're fine. But just like randomly one of them being dead, I'd be very sad.
Yeah, that'd be very scary.
When I was younger, and I guess, not really now, I had a like very long, persistent fear of the world ending. I thought it was going to happen.
Cool.
And I'd have like a lot of nightmares about it.
Jeez, that's pretty heavy for a little kid.
Yeah, well, I saw this was like, for a lot of my childhood, admittedly, it was hard to deal with, I guess. But I saw like 20 seconds of the movie 2012 as well. Like after I already had this fear, and that like really amped it up. It was before 2012, obviously.
So it's going to be like, oh, that's what 2012 is going to be like? How do they know?
Because of the Mayan calendar, and it's an interpretation of what's going to happen. I knew it was a movie, right? Like, I didn't think they actually were like showing what was going to happen.
They got the time machine.
I don't know. I was just super duper scared of it. Thought it was going to happen any day for quite a while.
And so concludes our fan-submitted questions section.
Thank you all very much.
So now we shall move on to questions posed for each other. So I have a few questions that Brendan is asking Jonesy, and a couple questions that Jonesy is asking Brendan.
Two things. One, I think these questions are pretty fair game to have both of us answer for some of them, right? Because some of them are pretty general. If you want to, I guess.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Two, I need another 7-Up.
Oh.
I need to kill more of this Malort.
All right,
I'm going
get
to
a
town.
quick refill. 1 second.
Insert
Do you want to fucking fight
pause
me?
music. After.
Okay. Yeah, throw that all over to me. Oh, sure.
On the express line to Malort Town.
Hell yeah.
Alright. Ready? Clap.
Yep.
First question. If you could be an animal, what would you choose to be?
Bird of some kind. Probably like one of the mountain nesting birds, like eagle or a hawk. Be cool views.
I'd be an emu.
Ooh, you really want to be out in the Australian plains?
Well, they won a war against humans.
They did. They're pretty powerful birds.
So you want to be a bird, but explicitly you do not want to fly. Maybe
I got
the
them
best
fucking
thing about
legs.
being a bird.
I mean, no other bird won a war against humans. Granted, it was 2 humans with 1 machine gun, and they conceded when their machine gun overheated and malfunctioned.
Because it was a shitty World War
But-
I machine gun.
They like legit won. Like they were
They held their ground.
They were reporting that like the ostriches had commanders and they were like flanking and shit like that.
Emus.
Yeah, emus.
had
Yeah,
war
I want to be
strategies.
an emu, but I keep on confusing them with ostriches. That'll be my trait as an emu. They'll love me.
So you'll keep confusing yourself for an ostrich?
Yeah, and then I'll say like, ah, shit, and they'll be like, ooh, you said a bad word, and we're emus.
And we're emus.
Where do you think evil comes from?
The philosophical one. I'll throw it to you first. Where do you think evil comes from?
Greed?
See, but where does it and start from then? Because it's like a young child. Where do they first become greedy at? You got to think like if humans do start innocent as a baby, like right, babies ain't evil. Can't call no baby evil. Where does evil come in at? What makes them start being evil? What's the first trickle?
Probably.
Is it always due to a lack? Like a lack of something? Because you would think like greed or anything that would be like, you know, an intense need would be due to that, either a perceived lack of or just a straight lack of. But is it always due to that? Is it always an underprivileged that would like kind of...
No.
That's
whoa,
what
whoa,
someone
whoa,
who is...
whoa. What a fucking thing.
I don't mean it like
what
that.
an interpretation,
but
man.
Someone who is without is what I mean. Is that always going to be? And I'm trying to make it
Well,
like
I
not
mean,
that.
Emperor Palpatine was not without, and he's like the most evil motherfucker in the Star Wars universe.
That is a fictional character.
I know,
Right, then that's
but
the
like
other
fiction
thing.
is meant to represent like us,
That's
right?
what-
Like
that's
we
what I was
we
gonna
can't
go.
really write about shit that we don't, at least in some sense, know about.
Well, can we say that evil exists? What is evil?
It exists even when like the people are like you're saying, like, you know, mega church millionaires. So people who even have everything are still evil. So like what does it really come from? If it's not just a straight lack of something, if even people who have everything can still become evil, what does it
Changing
stem
my
from?
answer to existence.
Existence makes you evil. You think people just
existence makes evil exist.
Mm.
You know, I mean, we have a lot of things in literature, you know, about like, you know, how light can't exist without the dark, yada yada yada. For something to be good, there must be some type of evil.
So you think
Maybe I'd
evil
characterize that as greed as a personal thing, but
So you think evil's natural? It kind of has to exist.
Can I pose my thoughts on this?
Of course, Interrobang.
Well, I think evil is subjective, right?
Sure.
If everybody had the same moral values and systems, then everybody would be aligned in how they act and think. So evil is just an interpretation of somebody else's moral systems acting in a way that you see as immoral, and therefore you interpret as evil.
That is
But
true.
humanity seems to have come to some level of consensus, though.
Right, of
And
what
while
is
there
good
are-
and what is evil.
There are, you know, large swaths of people that think of things and like act upon evil ideologies. I mean, we're just gonna say straight up Nazis, right?
Sure.
You know, easy one.
Yeah, they're the villains of the world. Yeah.
Non-controversial.
Right.
Nobody's going to be in the comments defending Nazis.
Yeah.
If they are, just leave.
Yeah, right.
Like, you're not welcome if you're a Nazi. So,
Sorry.
not. But, like, I think we have some general ideas of mutual benefit and making sure that, you know, we aren't purposefully hurting other people, animals, or whatever to no benefit.
Right, but I mean, like Interrobang said, maybe people have this moral belief system that like people just kind of have to be hurt in order for, you know, a certain thing to progress. So they just kind of not only accept that, but like just, you know, almost will it into existence just because that's...
Well, for a certain thing to progress is separate from for no reason. You know, I think we can all agree on the line of for no reason or for personal pleasure. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Well, I think there is a more or less agreed upon set of moral values that we've landed on societally. However, there are still people that value their own interests over the interests of humanity, right? So we can agree that we should act in a way that's best for the human race in general. But if somebody disagrees with that, even just one person, then the rest of society will view them as evil, correct? So we
Right.
could, as a society, say, oh, murdering your partner after sex, like a spider, is morally good, right? And then if somebody doesn't do that, then the rest of society is going to view them as evil.
yeah, but I think we aren't spiders, right? You know, if a spider could think, it would probably have a different perspective, but they also didn't make Kingdom Hearts, so what do they know?
That's
yeah, right?
so
Fucking
true.
spiders.
Stupid spiders. They can't even make Kingdom Hearts.
At the end of the day, you kind of need to take the perspective of yourself, even though as much as you want to empathize with others, you need to take the perspective of yourself, and a majority of the people are going to be in a position where they can at least understand that you want to work towards the benefit of all of humanity, right? But maybe some people will go against that while being still able to understand it, but I can't understand certain who could really be okay with themselves in making certain actions.
Yeah, that's the biggest reason why I wanted to ask of like where evil comes from, because I really can't comprehend a lot of like the different morality structures that just not only allow but just like are, putting forth like, oh yeah, some other people suffering is like what's supposed to happen. It's like, what the fuck are you talking? Like nobody should suffer. Why? What if you were suffering? Like, what, do you have any amount of empathy? Like one single shred? Like it's wild.
But I think Interrobang brings up a good point. There's no way to, I guess, fully define this in a way that is universal.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
There is no universal
at the end of the day,
good, therefore there can be no universal evil, I suppose, yeah?
Yeah, and every answer that you get is an individual's interpretation.
True
but
that.
I think a lot of people share certain specific interpretations, which actually that doesn't even make it right. But at the end of the day, it's sort of our lot in existence, right? We live in a society. I have to say it.
We do.
Say it.
All right, building off of that question, though, what's an intrusive thought that wins?
Ooh, spinning. Especially now that I have this space in the condo that I've bought. I have like an open space where I could just stick my arms out to the side and airplane spin. I do that a lot when I'm here. Just whenever I get the opportunity to, I'm just like, I can. Woo! And I just do like a spin move as I'm going through.
That's not an intrusive thought.
It's pretty intrusive because it's like, I mean,
More of an impulse, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, it's always like kind of, I guess there. Like sometimes I don't do it because it's just like, I could spin right now, but I'm like, walking through with things in my hand. I'm like, nah, I shouldn't do it. But like sometimes I don't. And I'm just like, I'm gonna let it win today, yeah, and I just spin around.
I'm going to respectfully decline to answer this question.
No shit.
But I mean, honestly, most of the I don't think I really. I don't have a habit of letting intrusive thoughts win. I don't have a specific one that does win, but.
You don't step onto the train platform every time you get there?
Yeah,
like,
right. It's just my habit. I just think about it every time, and like 25% I do it. Pissing on the third rail.
All right, this is a question for Trashcan over here. What's your favorite memory with Mrs. Trashcan?
Oh, that is an interesting one. So, my favorite memory, especially looking back on it, it was absolutely oh so terrible in the moment. But it was one of our second dates, second or third date, where I had not even like mustered up the courage to like hold her hand, because I'm very like a very cautious person. I really don't want to like be too forward, especially with women. So we were sitting outside of an Andy's, and I just kind of like, hands were kind of close, and I was doing the thing of like trying to inch close and hold her hand while we spoke and just talked for the end of the night. And somebody, I guess there's this thing where like, if you're in the drive-through service industry, like there's a timer that they do for people going around in the drive-through.
Yes, quick note, when I was at Taco Bell, it was like 45 seconds, and people would order like food for the family, and we just never make it.
Exactly. And apparently there's, I guess, a thing sometimes people do where they have like somebody else come in and just do laps for it to like make the average look better. Cheat the numbers.
I've never seen that personally, but we would ask people to pull up, and that's not really because they're holding up the line. It's because we want to keep our number down.
Okay. So, but in this instance, I guess they had somebody who was coming in to just try and cheat the numbers. So it was while we were having this, trying to have a little bit of an intimate moment, there was somebody just constantly going through the drive-through, just being like, I'm sorry, they have to keep doing this, like pulling in, like headlight flashing us, just constant, like 6 different times pulling in, and we're just like, I'm trying to like make the slightest of moves of my little like timid like going to her. It was terrible in the moment, but looking back, it was just hilarious. The fact that I was so afraid to even hold her hand.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that didn't make it any easier.
No, it didn't. The young lady apologized profusely a couple times she was going through because she realized she was perhaps ruining a moment for us.
Well, that's adorable.
Thank you.
My favorite memory with Miss Trashcan is that we, I gave her some jambalaya I made, and then she gave me some Alfredo that her and Mr. Trashcan made.
I like that you two have like your own little friendship that you go back and forth. Whenever she tells me like, oh yeah, me and Brendan were texting, I was like, cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
All right, Jonesy, what is your favorite memory with Brendan?
So, off the rip, my favorite memory that comes to mind was getting Bruce. Brendan was. I keep messing up and calling you Breg. We've said it a bunch of times. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
Breg had gotten this. Wanted to get a cockatiel pet, and he didn't have a car or any ways to get one. So he asked me to be able to give him a ride to the pet store so he could pick out and give his different little visits that we had for him, because you visited him a couple times before you took him home, right? I remember.
So he was I bought him as a fresh hatchling, right?
Yeah.
So
he was a little pink baby.
I picked him out of the litter, I guess, the clutch, and that's what they call it, of eggs. And he was one of quite a few in the plastic tub that they kept on a heating pad.
Oh.
And I was like, that one. And then I visited him one time when he was still, fledgling. And by the time that I actually picked him up, or that one time that I visited him as a fledgling, the guy mentioned, yeah, he's a star.
So many people wanted to adopt him.
People were picking him out of the group every single time. And he was a cinnamon pearl
He had
cockatiel.
such a cute feather pattern. He was so yellow, and underneath of his wings had the little white pearls on him. Oh, he was so cute. I loved him.
A beautiful little boy.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Bruce. But that's my favorite memory of coming home with him and doing all the different things, learning about cockatiels with you and all the different things, how to handle them and different ways to scritch them. Learning those aren't his cheeks.
It's also kind of funny that the guy that I bought him from, he's a cockatiel breeder and stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, can you clip the wings at when I mean, not pinning them, which is a permanent thing. Clipping them is just cutting the feathers so they can't get enough lift to fly. Because I wanted them to depend on me when I got them.
Right.
Now I wanted to form a connection in that way. Is maybe a little bit fucked up, but it's should have been fine. But he clipped them wrong and got one feather, one or two feathers difference in between the wings, and that led to Bruce making a fall and getting a case of this is apparently a common thing among pet birds with clipped wings, split ass.
Yeah, we had to take him in to get little birdie stitches.
Yeah, he had to get little dissolvable stitches, and they put him. They gave him bird tranquilizer or whatever.
Poor little guy.
So they could do the little baby bird surgery.
But he was fine after that. He was just a little. He was actually became one of the most not frenzied birds. He was very chill. Would never really try to fly out of people's hands. Was always not loud. He was very calm bird.
And people would have him people would borrow him to study and stuff like that.
He just loved sitting
and
on
we
shoulders.
would take him and run up and down the hallways together. It's a good time.
I love him. He'd always love to inspect mouths too. Whenever I put him on my shoulder, he would start biting at my lips a little bit just so I could open my mouth, and he'd look in there and then just look back out and be like, all right, it's safe. And that was it. He just wanted to look.
I guess I'll bring it back to intrusive thoughts, which did not win. But I'd pet him on the head and stuff like that, and he just has such a tiny little grape head, and I'd think I could kill him.
Yeah,
right
it'd
now.
Be very easy to.
It's so easy, and yet at the same time, he trusts me, and I have no reason to.
I would never ever.
It'd be awful.
I would go to war for
awful
this word.
experience for me, especially him. But he's just so trusting, little baby. He's very, very sweet.
Yeah, I miss Bruce.
And when he would pick around in the mouth, he'd just look in.
And just look around a little bit and be like, all right, it's safe. Nothing's in there.
I did also used to play tug of war with him with a broken keychain, where so I'd put one loop of it here in my incisors, and not my canine teeth, and then I'd have him on my shoulder, and then he'd grab the other end and we'd go
fight with it. A little mouth tug of war.
I'd let him win.
Well, I want to know the other phone of that. What's your favorite memory of me?
This was during Next Normal, or maybe it wasn't. It was around that time. I since we've been talking about this and thinking about this in the weeks coming up to this, I do think that's probably the point in time where we got really close. And you and me got together, hung out in my room, watched Mike Tyson Mysteries, eating Tyson's chicken nuggets.
Hell yeah.
Smoke a weed.
Good times.
chilling.
Was that really one of the first times we had hung out? I showed you. Mike
No,
Tyson's
no,
Mysteries?
we've hung out plenty of times before then, but that was like an important moment to me.
Ah,
It was like, yeah, this guy.
hell yeah.
And I'm really happy to have him in my life.
Oh, I'm happy to have you in my life too. That is a great memory.
And since that was around the time of Next to Normal, I actually have a favorite memory of you, me, and Interrobang.
Me?
You were in Next to Normal, eh?
And that was, we got together and we smoked weed by the train tracks.
Good times.
And we put some rocks on the train tracks.
I remember that.
And no train. We did it after a train came, I think. And we were talking about 1,000 Ways to Die.
Yeah.
And then we came back and watched 1,000 Ways to Die.
Yeah, I remember because we were like, that would definitely be a way of like guys smoking weed by the train tracks, and they're like, "Oh, put rocks on it," and the train comes by, and the rocks fly off and hit him. Like,
Yeah.
looks like these guys got snow.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It's 100% 1,000 Ways to Die episode. Oh, that's great.
Those are good train tracks. And we smoked there like 2 or 3 times. But
Yeah, back when it was illegal. It's very legal now in the place we are at. We like
In
to point out
Illinois.
in Illinois.
Yeah, it's still federally a Schedule 1 drug. But
Right, where we're at, it's legal. It was illegal back when we were doing it, though. Statute of limitations.
That's 10 years, brother.
Is it? Fuck, it was legal. Anyway, next question.
What's the coolest thing you could think to do in the air while slam dunking? Fuck physics and reality.
All right. So I don't know if you're a big sportsman, but I want to put out mine to this, and maybe we'll inspire you a little bit. If you were to go up into the air and then put the ball into your mouth and then just completely turn yourself inside out and then slam dunk it and end as an inside out human, I think that would be some of the wildest shit anyone's ever done and would be like a 100 million point slam dunk contest. You'd probably have to like pull yourself back up and inside out to like continue on in society. But I feel like doing that would like freak everybody out. Like do that like, the classic Kevin Garnett standing up with the video camera like, whoa, like you'd get that reaction.
I agree. If I was playing horse against you, I'd quit. If you did that. Honestly, my idea of the coolest slam dunk you can do is you jump up in the air, you slam dunk it, and honestly, this might still be within physics, but like probably not. You slam dunk it with one hand, your hands on the rim, catch it with the other hand, slam dunk it, catch it with the other hand, slam dunk it 100 times.
That's so legitimately.
The other team is like just gonna quit.
Legitimately, when I was a kid, I thought of that exact same thing. Of just like that'd be such a cool thing if someone in the slam dunk contest just would do that like as many times as they could. I've thought about that before. That's so crazy.
until the glass breaks.
Well, actually, they made it so you can't break the glass anymore. They made the way the backboards are. The rim is just connected in a whole different part.
Pussies.
Yeah, Shaq-proof backboards, baby.
Here's what I would do. This would be a multi-generational dunk.
Oh shit.
Okay, so I would launch the basketball into space.
Ooh.
And have the trajectory just right so that it does like a nice long trip, like does it like an orbit around a couple suns, and then comes back, and then like my great grandson catches it and dunks it.
Damn.
The ultimate alley-oop.
So you're taking a 0 in the slam dunk contest, but your great grandson is getting the 1,000.
Exactly. It's all about generational wealth.
So do you mean like suns in like the celestial sense, or suns as in like yours?
I'm going to launch my sons into space so that the basketball can orbit around them. This is a family sport. Okay?
You have your firstborn, you chuck him into space. You have another kid to actually have offspring.
Yeah, I have to. I send 5 sons into space. I do have to keep one of them on Earth to procreate and continue my line.
Good.
And you know what he would say when he slam dunks it? Interrobang!
Oh, fucking beautiful.
All 2 brain cells.
Exactly. All right, Jones. What street did you grow up on?
All right. That's like one of the porn star name generator questions. I grew up on a street called Hamlin, which is a weird street because it like disconnects like 6 different times. So there's like 8 different Hamlins, but I grew up on one of them.
And the name of your first pet growing up?
Shit, so literally is that. My first pet, I think it was Fuzzy.
All right, and your mother's maiden name?
Dixon.
All right, and the model of your first car?
Oh, my first Corolla.
All right, and what's your favorite credit card, and what are the 16 digits on the front, the date, and the 3 digits on the back?
My favorite one. Oh, it's expired now, so I guess I can give you all that.
Okay, and also, where do you keep your checkbook?
Who the fuck is a checkbook? I'm fucking under 30. I don't have a checkbook. I'm sorry. I'm
I have
not
a
95.
My old place, the first year I was there, so honestly nowadays, I've been paying rent on Venmo for like years, which is a little bit ridiculous.
What? That's wild. I've never paid rent on Venmo.
There's a paper trail. But before my last place switched over to Venmo, I had to hand deliver a check to a pizza place
Yeah.
in Chicago, like the Tri-Taylor or whatever it's called, near UIC. And luckily I worked out there at the time, so like once a month I just go get pizza for lunch, right? But I do have a checkbook because of that.
Yeah.
So where's yours again?
Mrs. Trash has the checkbook because she happens to work for a bank. Very coincidental. She just happens to not be 95 and is able to get a checkbook easily. That's the only reason we have checks. And we were able to use checks to pay our rent when we were in an apartment. And now we pay mortgage.
All right, do we have time for one more question?
Yeah, let her rip.
All right, you guys will need to finish this bottle of Malort by the time we finish.
Oh shit, that's not gonna happen. Senor Interrobang.
Oh,
Got
got
any
another
more
7
7-Up?
Good.
I'm fucking running dry.
I mean, I still have more, yeah.
Appreciate. I cannot drink that
maybe
Malort.
2 more questions.
Let her rip.
All right. Do you think you could score a single point on Serena Williams over the course of an entire day of playing?
Over an entire day, I mean, yeah, right? Because she's not even like waiting for her to slip up. Like, I can probably shoot one shot that like barely grazes the line and is like, oh, that was in technically, and like I get my 1 or 2 that way. You know, it's probably, maybe, I don't know. Like as long as maybe if I get a serve, maybe I don't fucking probably not, but in a 1% chance, maybe just on like a putback.
And as a follow-up question, can you define hubris?
All right. Listen, I was really trying to play it off. I played a lot of sports, okay? I feel confident in myself to play a little bit of tennis. What about you? Would you score a point on Serena Williams?
So, when presented with the same question, I kind of had the same idea, right? Like, an entire day, and I was sort of relying on the slip-up, personally, right?
I was even without the slip-up, you could probably just knock a good angle shot, like, just by chance right on the line, then just boom, hit it, bam.
But I think back to my semester in high school where I was on the tennis team because my social studies teacher was like, you'll get extra credit if you join tennis. I don't know if I ever got it. I didn't. I mean, it doesn't really matter now, right? But I joined tennis because of that. And I played a whole season. And I didn't score a single point.
Damn. It's tough. Tennis is a lot of lateral movement and a lot of just like stop-start. Tennis is a real tough sport. You don't really think about it.
That wasn't the issue. I could hit the ball perfectly fine. I just couldn't aim it.
Oh.
I didn't know like how to hit it into the other side of the field. And that's the thing is that at the first point, like when you first hear the question, you're like, I mean, yeah, like, you know, over an entire day, right? Like if you like have all the time in the world, yeah, eventually something is going to happen. But me, legitimately, I don't think I could. Yeah. I did a whole season of tennis and did not score once. There was a time that you get these scorecards, right? And one is like green with white numbers, and one is white with green numbers, and one's home and away. And we actually flipped it the wrong way. And I came back after the game. He's like, wow, you did a really good job there, my social studies teacher. And I was like, nah, we just put the numbers wrong.
No. But maybe I wouldn't then. I haven't played tennis in a very long time, but I mean, maybe it's a lot harder than I'm remembering.
I could not succeed.
I don't doubt that I would be able to. I give it maybe the 0.1% chance of maybe I can like hit a very crazy angle shot like she wouldn't even. I don't fucking know. But yeah, no, probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also maybe still on the page of like it could happen, but like I really
1 in a million.
Like I couldn't say.
Same thing of like hitting an MLB pitch. Like I could probably, if you just threw nothing but 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, maybe I'd hit 1 or 2 of them. Wouldn't even.
Yeah,
be a good
like you
hit,
tune into it eventually.
Right, but it wouldn't even be a good hit when I hit it. But I'd make contact.
Yeah, but no, I personally like even that's hubris. You think you can, but I really, while I do kind of think I can, and in some part of me, the realist in me is just I can't. I would never be able to.
Fair. All right, let's do one more question, and we'll end it on that.
All right, last question. Who do you think is the best boxer of all time?
It's gonna have an answer.
Probably Muhammad Ali.
Hey, okay. So I posited this question because I didn't know how into sports and all the different things that you are. I watch a lot of just boxing documentaries and different things in my free time, so I'm kind of tuned into it. And I was kind of interested to know or to see what like an outsider perspective would be. I would agree. Muhammad Ali would also be the greatest of all time. Sonny Liston, George Foreman, maybe Jack Johnson, other ones like the top 5 rounded out, but
Tyson?
Mike Tyson also, yeah, but I don't want to even say buts. Also, yeah.
I mean, he lost to Jake Paul.
He's a 50-something-year-old man. But you got to, when you're ever talking about the greatest of all time, you got to look at
Then he'd be the greatest of some time.
Listen. When you talk about the GOATs, you talk about them at their peak. Muhammad Ali also fought far beyond his prime that he shouldn't have because he needed the
Goku.
money. Goku would have beat all of them. I don't fucking know. There was legitimately, though, even in like the 60s and 70s, people were drawing like Muhammad Ali fighting Superman. Like that's how like strong, quote unquote, he was. Like people really believed he was the greatest of all time.
I mean, he's like the boxer.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like yeah, we have Mike Tyson. We watched the show, but
Muhammad Ali, he redefined boxing in a lot of different ways, especially even like the promotional ways. Like he was one of the first guys to like actually like make a show of it. Like before it was like, oh yeah, I'm very respectful and hopefully I have a good fight. But Muhammad Ali would be that guy like, look at me, I'm so pretty. Doesn't the champion deserve to be so pretty? That guy's ugly over there. He's the ugliest man in the world. Don't you think he's ugly? And the guy like, I really can't report on that. Well, I think he's ugly. He was just like go on a rant somehow. Like it was the craziest shit. People had never seen it before. It was so entertaining.
Also never bit a guy's ear.
Yeah, no, Mike Tyson kind of went off the rails. That's the only like detract people have of his GOAT status is when he was in his prime, like had his peak, he just started to fall. Mm-hmm. Unfortunate.
You know, like I feel like Muhammad Ali is like the definition of boxing.
That's fair. That is a very fair statement.
You know,
I would agree.
Like anyone coming after him, like he was the first GOAT. And he honestly could probably still win if he was still like at any point in his prime. Like I think we're still maybe 50 years away from getting someone that could beat Muhammad Ali in his prime. And I don't even know that much about boxing. It's just like the legacy that he left.
Yeah,
and
because he was that
the
guy,
skill that he had, and the way that he defined what the sport is.
Yeah,
and if he were to like, let's say, could just continue to have been competing still in his prime this entire time, like I don't even know what the fuck he would do.
It's because that's the thing. He was not only just known for his physical gifts, but he had the mind like no one would ever believe. He figured out how to beat people, like in the ways that nobody could ever think. Like this whole thing with George Foreman, just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna lean back on the ropes and just let him punch as hard as he can for as long as he can, and then after that, only then am I gonna start fucking this dude up. And then the whole time just talking shit, like making sure like to keep himself in the fight because he's still getting hit by one of the hardest hitting men in the world. Like it's not like he's just can shrug that off, but he's got to make him think that he can shrug it off. And that's the whole plan, is just get into his head, and that's what lets him win. It's the craziest thing, the mind of a guy like that to just throw himself willingly into shit. Ugh. Muhammad Ali, greatest of all time. I agree.
And nobody talks about how he's a man, butterfly, and bee hybrid.
Right? Transformers, Animorphs.
And some might argue that it's a little bit of an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
However,
nobody talks
all
about
of those animals are smaller than humans, and he's larger than most humans, so...
That's an excellent point.
Well, that'll about do it for episode 52 of Cold Hard Trash CRT. Thank you so much for joining us for this first year of production. Thank you, Breg, for being here on our year of production. Thank you, Interrobang, for being here and asking us these questions, joining with us. It has been an amazing year. I can't believe that the time has gone the way it has. Honestly, it's crazy. Starting it off the way we did, like you said, of just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna keep doing it tomorrow or next week, I guess. Just gotta keep doing it, and eventually we hit our stride. And God, I hope it never ends. This is so much fucking fun.
Couldn't be happier to be here.
Couldn't be happy to be here. Well, shit. All right.
Couldn't be happier.
Happier? I hardly know her.
Thanks, Interrobang.
No problem.
I'm so glad we grew you in that lab.
Thank you. We love you all
Worth
so
every
much.
penny.
Worth every penny. Cheers to another great year.
Buffalo.
Oh, fuck you. I'm not doing it. I took one big gulp, but that was enough.